Welcome children to the second module. I am here to continue with the same portion of class 10 economics, lesson 1, that is talking about development. Let's get started off with public facilities. Now you might be wondering why we have to talk about public facilities in the lesson development. Remember children, public facilities are very much needed when we are talking about development of a country. I'll start off by telling you an assertion statement where I say money in your pockets cannot buy all the goods and services that we need to live well. Now what does this mean? What does this statement mean? It tells us that income alone or per capita income cannot be taken as an adequate indicator for measuring the development of a country. It is a subject matter which is to be thought about by the whole society. If we say human development, human development is the essence of social development. Even if you have money, can we go about buying pollution-free atmosphere? Can we buy unadulterated medicine? It is not so, isn't it? So we have to also go about learning about the elements of welfare. Now what are the elements of welfare? We have at first per capita income, then we have life expectancy, and the third one as literacy rate. Per capita income, already I sensitized you about that. It is the average income, total income of a country divided by the population. Then what does this economic term life expectancy means? It is the average expected lifespan of an individual at birth. Talking about the literacy rate, which is also very much important for the welfare of the country. Literacy rate means what? It is the proportion of educated persons in the country. Now we include the age group of 7 years and above. Why 7 years? Because it is at that age where a child knows to read and write any language with understanding. Clear? So now talking about these three elements about welfare, I'll also remind you about two states, comparison of two states. If you take the state of Haryana and you take the state of Kerala, Haryana is having much more per capita income than Kerala. But remember, Haryana is lagging behind in health conditions and education level. Clear? Now when we are also focusing on health of the individuals, I'll also tell you about BMI. Have you heard about this term BMI? It is known as body mass index. Now why do we have to calculate it? We are interested in finding out whether the adults are undernourished or whether they are overweight. So what we have to do is take the weight of a person in kg. Clear? Divide it by the height of the person in meters. We have to take square of the height in meters and you get a figure after calculating it. So weight of a person in kg divided by the height of the person in meters, square of that. Now when you are doing the calculation and you get a figure which is less than 18.5, it is understood that the individual is undernourished. Attention has to be given to his health. And suppose the calculation that you get is above 25, then that individual is overweight. So you have to understand that per capita income is equally important when we are talking about development. We know that literacy rate is important as well as the life expectancy of the people of the country, because why we are saying that all the people are an asset for the nation. They are going to be a resource for the country. They are going to bring in development for our country. Clear? Now I'll just take your attention to the next topic where we talk about Human Development Index. What is this Human Development Index? It is used for comparing the different countries. Is it clear? So when we are taking this Human Development Index, it is actually being given by the UNDP. UNDP submits what is known as Human Development Report, where we are comparing the different countries based on Three indicators. We have income, or we can say per capita income, we are taking the education level, and also we are taking the health status or health status of the people. Is it clear? So, we are now what I am telling you is comparison of the different countries. And you know, in the latest figure that was given by UNDP, it had come in the article, an article had come in the Hindu paper dated, if I am not wrong, 10/12/2019, where you find that, you know, Sri Lanka, it is a very small country and our country is very large, but you know, Sri Lanka is far ahead of us when we are talking about development. Why they are a little bit better off than us? It is only because they are seeing the qualitative growth of the country. Clear? And it had come that you know, our position, that is India's position, was in 129th position out of 189 countries, whereas Sri Lanka stands in the 71st rank. And China, for your information, it was standing in the position 85th. Clear? So, this is all what I have to tell you about Human Development Index. So, UNDP goes about comparing the different countries of the world. It submits this information in Human Development Report. Is it clear, children? So, now I also will take you to the most important challenge of this lesson, talking about sustainable development. That is something which we all have to collectively think about. You know what is the meaning of this word sustainable development? We have to be very cautious when we are using the resources. We have to meet our needs, no doubt. We have to be very judicious in utilizing the resources, as well as when you are using the resources, you have to give utmost importance for the needs of the future generation. That is what we mean when we are talking about sustainable development. I will be more clear to you by giving you example of groundwater level and also by telling you about the fossil fuels. What about the groundwater level? It is, you know, depleting day by day. Even though we are saying that, oh, when there is heavy rain, it is getting recharged. But at what pace it is getting recharged? In the same manner, in the same speed, we all are consuming the groundwater level. Clear? 1/3 of the country happens to overutilize the groundwater resources. Something has to be done. Clear? So, what we are saying is that the groundwater level is becoming less and less. Take for example, suppose if you are going about digging a bore well, you notice that in the earlier days, if we just go about digging 50 feet, you find the level of water. But nowadays, we find that even if we go 300 or 400 feet, we are saying that we are, you know, there is absence of water. So, you are searching for the ground level water. So, here we see that we have to be very cautious when we are using the groundwater. So, we have to be very careful, do not go about overutilizing it or do not use anything in excess. Then what about fossil fuels? You know that fossil fuels, it is a non-renewable resource. We all have limited stock of this fossil fuels. If you are digging out crude oil, you know, it will get over very soon. We might be happy for another 40 or 45 years. After that, what will happen? We have to, you know, it is a non-renewable resource. It takes millions of years to get accumulated once again. So, in this sustainable development, you have to remember that development has to go on, but at the same time, we have to see that without, you know, compromising the future, the ability of the future generation to use the resources which we are using at the present moment. I hope that, you know, we all will go about thinking about this sustainable development whenever we are utilizing these resources. Think that there is somebody else after you. They are also waiting and longing to use the resources which you are also cheerfully enjoying it. Is it clear? So, we are saying about sustainable development to be practiced by all of us. Is it clear? So, sustainable development, you know, we are saying that you have to satisfy your needs, but you have to, on the other hand, you also have to remember of the coming generation. Clear? Then, I will also tell you about one particular statement I will tell and I will explain to you. You know that, you know, all these resources, we have inherited the world from our forefathers. Clear? It is not something that, you know, when we are saying this word inherited, We are saying that we are getting it from our forefathers. You know, the inherited qualities you are all getting from your parents. Clear? The characteristics of your parents is passed on to you. So when we are talking about the world, it is something which we have inherited from our forefathers, but remember that it is actually being borrowed from our children. Why we are using the term borrowed there? See, when we borrow money from somebody, we very well know that you have to give it back. So the resources also are such that you have to go about giving it, you have to keep it aside in stock for your children, because all the resources are in limited stock. People are misusing it, or I can say in other words, people are making excessive use of the resources and not thinking about the future generation. Is it clear, children? So remember, start practicing sustainable development. Everybody has to go about practicing sustainable development. Clear? Then also I'll tell you about a quote which is given by Mahatma Gandhi. The earth has enough resources to meet the needs of all, but not enough resources to meet the greed of even one person. With this quote, I end the whole lesson of this chapter, that is development. I hope, children, you understood what all topics I discussed with you. I discussed about public facilities. I also discussed with you what is BMI, what is the term, what is the explanation of the term, you know, life expectancy. Then I did remind you about literacy rate. Then Human Development Report, or we can say Human Development Index, goes about comparing the different countries. And I did remind you about our ranking when we are comparing our country with 189 countries. Then I told you about the most important challenging factor, that is sustainable development, which is to be practiced by every individual in this country. As we know that the resources are getting, it's getting less and less, because people are interested in rapid economic growth, and not only that, we are also going in for faster industrialization. So the resources are being it is becoming less and less. So we have to be very careful in not destroying the resources. Clear? Then, and I also told you about what all efforts must be taken as individuals, and also how human development is I did tell you, human development is the essence of social development. All those indicators also, I hope it was clear to you, and I thank you very much for being so patient enough to listen to me. Thanks to one and all.